The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hello, welcome to the Connected Table Live. I'm your host, Melanie Young, with my cohort, David Ransom, for another delicious afternoon discussing what's going on and what's about to eat and drink in the world of food and beverage. David and I are in New York this week because it's the feeding season. Lots of events taking place and good food, and of course Thanksgiving coming up. So our focus is going to be on eating and drinking for the holidays, and we are very excited to have a little bit of eating and a little bit of drinking.
Well, folks, we're going to switch gears a little bit now and bring on our next guest. As we start thinking about the holidays and what we're going to eat, we also need to start thinking about what we're going to drink. And a lot of that, obviously, in our family certainly has to do with wine. And our next guest is probably a producer that comes to most people's minds when they think about Thanksgiving, because our next producer is the winery Les Vins Georges Duboeuf and Franck Duboeuf, who is George's son. And Duboeuf makes and releases the annual vintage of Beaujolais Nouveau every year, which is flown around the world and brought around the world. And Nouveau is really kind of the celebratory wine of the season and the first release of the harvest each year. And it's a great celebratory wine to put on the table for meals like Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot. And it's a pleasure to have Franck on the show today. Franck, welcome.
Merci, David. Hello, Melanie. Hello, David.
It's so good to have you on. You know, Franck, we go back a long way, as you know, and there was a time when we got the pleasure of working with you to have Beaujolais Nouveau arrive, and we love the wines, and we particularly love Nouveau and the Crus. Why don't we just start? Tonight's the night at 12:01. You're going to be officially uncorking Nouveau, and Beaujolais Thursday is the third Thursday in November. There's an interesting story behind Beaujolais Nouveau and how it came to be the third Thursday in November. So why don't you share it with us, because it's really made a huge impact on the Beaujolais region.
Yeah, Beaujolais Nouveau started locally in Beaujolais first, when the growers used to go just at the hard work right after the vinification, harvest and vinification, to go and taste their neighbor's production. And then a few restaurants take this tradition to Lyon and then to Paris. And someone one day painted with a white paint on the window, "Le Beaujolais Nouveau est arrivé." And it was the start of a big phenomenon. It was in the late 50s.
And it was a time when there was a law change that allowed the harvest to be released on a certain date earlier, which meant there was a lot of opportunity to create a celebratory wine, because Beaujolais Cru is not really available until a year later. So you have fresh wine, and then you have the wine that's waiting to be released. So this was an opportunity to sell wine that was young and fresh at a time when there was not wine to sell, right?
Yes. By rule, all the AOC wine, the AOP, used to be released not before December the 15th, and most of them much later. But the Beaujolais growers asked to get the authorization to release their wines a month earlier, so November the 15th. And because of its success, we had to move the date, November the 15th, to the third Thursday of November. It was in 1985.
And since then, it has become an annual tradition. And really, your father, George, really, I think, is credited with starting the whole Beaujolais Nouveau at Arrivée celebration, correct?
Yes, he is certainly one of the Beaujolais who created the phenomenon and start to market it and to ship abroad. It was in the late 70s and 80s. Yeah.
I remember it was coming by Concord and by all sorts of ways. And then people tried to outdo each other with festive traditions. But behind all the pomp and circumstance, which I always say is like having the New Year's baby come forth, there's a solid wine in Beaujolais, even though it has people that go, oh, no, no, no. It's a terrific wine, and it's made with the Gamay grape, which is indigenous to Beaujolais. Why is Gamay so well suited for making a Beaujolais Nouveau and Beaujolais Cru wine?
Gamay grapes in Beaujolais, thanks to the granite soil, permit us to have an early harvest and through the carbonic maceration, which is a special fermentation, which lasts only a few days under low temperature, we obtain a very aromatic juice, easy to drink, very well balanced, which can be drunk just after 4-6 weeks after the harvest. Mm-hmm. So only in Beaujolais we can have this combination of soil, grape, and climate, which permits us to have this young wine.
It's very simple, actually. Soil, grape, climate. I mean, that's very natural and simple, which is really what the wine is. It's meant to be drunk fresh and young. And what temperature? You always say lightly chilled, right?
Slightly chilled, yes. But thanks to its richness and full-bodied character, I would recommend this year to serve it not so chilled. Around 55 would be perfect.
So does the fact that you want to serve it a little bit more chilled or a little less chilled on a yearly basis have to do with the growing season and what any particular Nouveau would be? And to that end, how was this year's growing season and harvest in Beaujolais? Are you deeming it a good vintage? Was it a okay vintage? Was it a great vintage?
It's always a good vintage.
Well, that's true. In marketing speak, it's always a good vintage. That's true. However.
This is true. It's everything started by the first days of September. We were not so optimistic, we had a very cool summer, but thanks to fantastic weather conditions from September until, it lasted nearly 6 weeks. We were able to pick very ripe and healthy grapes, full of sugar and full of sap. So it was a real pleasure to see the first juice, very deep red and black colors, and to smell these aromas of ripe berries with a hint of white strawberry. So it's really a fantastic vintage, which we can compare with 2011, which was an exceptional vintage in Beaujolais.
Oh, 2011 was wonderful, as was 2009. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we were blessed by the Mother Nature once again.
Well, very good. It's good to hear. Well, we haven't tried it yet because it's not out. So we have to wait till midnight tonight when we're going to pop open a bottle with you, and we're all going to get to try it together. So we look forward to that, obviously.
We have our bottles. We're looking at the bottle, but we're honoring the tradition.
That's right.
We're not doing it until it's official. And we want to celebrate with you. So first of all, the price, I think it's $10, $10.99 this year, right?
Yeah.
So listen, buy a lot of them. It's great to serve. Good parties around the table. So what is going to happen tonight? Can you share?
Well, we have a big party at Tribeca Rooftop here in New York. So it's a great party with a theme, farm to table. So I'm very excited by this theme. We celebrate the Mother Nature, the fruit of the season, and this with the concept of Little France with local, with some recipes, good food, and a lot of music. So it will be a great celebration with good food.
You're going back to the land, which is nice. Now, around the country, will there be George Duboeuf Beaujolais Nouveau events all around the country as well?
Yes. We have many events all over the country with the French Chamber of Commerce, and also in many places, restaurants, obviously.
So where can people who want to go celebrate learn more about the celebrations? A Facebook page, perhaps, or a website? We have Duboeuf.com, but that's your main website, which is beautiful,
Yes,
by the way. Everybody should visit.
we have Facebook, we have Twitter
Good.
with Beaujolais wines, George Duboeuf wines, and
Good.
at Instagram. So many digital
So
communication.
everybody needs to post their Nouveau photo because it's really important to show. First of all, the bottle is quite colorful, and it's always so much fun to see the photos popping up all over the place. But Beaujolais Nouveau there's more about Nouveau than just the released tonight, or actually at 12:01. There are these gorgeous cru wines, actually, that you're going to be serving as well as you start the celebration. You want to talk a little bit about the Beaujolais crus?
Yes, we have 10 cru of Beaujolais, and tonight we will serve some of them from a selected cuvée, special domain or chateau, and also the some others from George Duboeuf production. We want to show the diversity of the Gamay grape. With one grape varietal, the Gamay, we can produce a Beaujolais Nouveau, with a lot of freshness, very aromatic, to a more complex wine like Fleury, Morgon, or even a Moulin à Vent, which after a few months in oak can age happily. So we're very happy tonight to present a large diversity of the Beaujolais wines through the cru.
Well, we're looking forward to it, certainly. You know, what I find interesting about the different cru in Beaujolais and the fact that they're all made from Gamay is I always wonder what makes Gamay, which is such a versatile grape, because the crus are all so different from each other, Franck. You've got the lighter, softer styles, but then the Moulin à Vent, the Morgons, they're really actually pretty good full-size bodied wines. And they age well as well. What makes Gamay so versatile that it can grow in such different microclimates in Beaujolais or in the different cru, shall we say, and really create such different wines from each other in a piece of real estate that's not all that big?
Yes, it's a tiny region and one grape varietal, and so from one village to another you have big differences coming from the soil, and the soil gives to the wines its personality, its typicity. So we have a large diversity of soils, from granite to limestone to clay, schist. So it permitted us many years ago, in the late 30s and 40s, to create this very diversified map of cru of Beaujolais, 10 different expressions of the Gamay. And what is very pleasant is to go through all the 10 cru of Beaujolais, because there is no other classification like in Burgundy or Bordeaux. We have the 10 cru. All of them go with their own personality. So it's always very pleasant to go through this 10 cru and choose and pick the one you prefer.
Well, it's actually one of the great learning experiences of all time, I think, in wine, is to be able to sit down and try all the different cru all at once. I've done it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a lot of fun in great vintages, of course, and we look forward to trying them tonight. But it's so interesting to sit down and try each of the 10 different cru Beaujolais next to each other and realize how different they are from each other. And one of the things that I find most interesting is that while people think that Beaujolais in general and Gamay is something that doesn't age well, in certain references, like some of the crus like Morgon or Moulin à Vent, it actually can age beautifully, and it can age for many years. And I find that fascinating about Beaujolais, and it's something that not a lot of people know about. Everybody says, "Oh, Nouveau, drink it now," and Beaujolais, drink it young. But you can find a 10 or 15-year-old bottle of Moulin à Vent, and it can, if it's been stored well, it can be a beautiful wine to drink. Tell us a little bit about what makes that so special.
Yes, it's true that some of the cru of Beaujolais can really age very well, and it's always a pleasure to keep a few bottles and to forget them for a while, and they always bring nice surprise. So when a wine is good in its youth, it will be definitely good in the near future. And sometimes, again, it's a real pleasure to taste the aromas of red and black berries turn to a more matured aromas, a little bit of plum, a little bit, and see the complexity of these wines, and which can be compared sometimes with, the most prestigious Burgundian wine. So again, it depends of the origin, it depends of the vinification. Some of the cru of Beaujolais will be aged in oak for a few months, and they develop a very different style and personality in their evolution. So again, it's a wine which doesn't need a lot of knowledge to be appreciated, especially with a glass of Beaujolais Nouveau, and then you go through Brouilly or Côte de Brouilly or Fleury or Chirouble, which are very aromatic, easy to drink, but you can already feel their complexity, their spiciness, their aromas, from floral to a more fruity style. And then you go to another family of cru of Beaujolais with Chenin, Morgon, Moulin à Vent, Chenin, which are much more complex, and you need to sometimes to really appreciate their style. And sometimes when you open a bottle of 10 years, 20 years old Moulin à Vent, you can be not anymore in the Beaujolais, but in the northern Burgundy. It's really an experience. So.
And you're so right on that. It is really an experience, and it's one that not a lot of people get to try, but it's so worthwhile when you do. I have a friend who loves Beaujolais, and she says she can find a Beaujolais to drink with every meal. There's not a meal that she can't find a bottle of Beaujolais that will fit, and that's one of the great things about the versatility of Beaujolais as a winemaking region and Beaujolais wine as a category, is that because there are 10 different cru,
right,
and they're also different from each other, you can find a Beaujolais to drink with pretty much every meal that's out there, and it's a wonderful wine, and it's so funny because my friend Pamela, she says, I'll drink Beaujolais with just about anything, and I'll find a Beaujolais that I can drink with anything, and it's a testament to Gamay, the grape, in its versatility, and Beaujolais as a region, that it can create all those different types of wines.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a great food companion.
It really is.
Well, in fact, how do you like to drink your? Let's obviously, you have your traditional French food, but if you were coming to the United States and trying all of our vast array of ethnic foods or your farm to table tonight, what are some of your favorite pairings?
My favorite pairings is it's there are so many different cuisine here to try with. I mean, I love the Beaujolais with slightly chilled with a salad or seafood. Because of its acidity, it goes very well with some salted dishes.
Ooh, popcorn.
Perfect way.
Beaujolais and popcorn.
Beaujolais popcorn, why not? Burgers.
Why not?
Fabulous,
Well, we all know Beaujolais and burgers go well together.
Well, we'll have to have some Beaujolais with some of Rick Rogers' sides.
Yeah.
So he makes some very savory sides as well. But no, we've actually had Beaujolais and popcorn. It's a great movie night. And I highly recommend it for everybody who just wants to kick back and have something that's a refreshing wine, but something just a simple, fun enjoyment. Of course, Beaujolais and burgers of all kind. I'll never forget enjoying it with a veggie burger, and David had it with a hamburger, and just perfect.
Yes, but I love to have a glass of Beaujolais with a roasted chicken, roasted turkey, or roasted ham. It's perfect. So it's a perfect wine for for the festive season, which comes soon.
Oh, really? That's a big. That's a big year for you.
For sure, yes. It's a great wine, and there is no other wines we can meet all the generation people who like the wines, people who don't know the wines, people like all together they can be agreed with a glass of Beaujolais.
So, Franck, do you cook at home? Who's the cook who makes all the great food to go with the wine?
Sorry?
Do you cook?
No. No.
Oh, okay. So I was just wondering if you like to cook as well as help make the wine.
No, I like to eat. I like all the different cooks, but I must say that I'm not a good cook. No.
Well, we share duties in the kitchen now, and it's becoming a nice couple thing to do while we're drinking our great wine, I have to say. So, we have just a few minutes left. We were just, reminiscing. What are some of your favorite ways? You've brought Beaujolais Nouveau in some very unusual ways, and we've been there to watch. What were some of your favorites in all the years you've been delivering the wine with your father, George, who at some point I remember it was delivered on the World Trade Center. That was one of the most outrageous ones. We were not involved, and sadly the World Trade Center's gone. But what are some of your favorite reminiscences?
Oh, I remember very well to the tour I did with bikers in Manhattan. Yes. It was a great experience.
Yes.
That was a fun one.
That was fun. And we have pictures.
That was 2008, and it was the Beaujolais Biker Brigade, and it was great.
And you were on the Harley Davidson people.
Fantastic, with some restaurateurs and
of course, like today in New York, it was about 20 degrees out, so all the bikers were freezing, if I remember correctly.
Well, no, what was worse is some of the bikes didn't start. David Boulay was pulling Ducati, saying, "Get me a bike that works." And what we really didn't realize is most motorcycles don't start in 20-degree weather.
That was fun, yes. And I remember one day was on the rickshaw on Madison Avenue, which was, on the traffic. It was fun too. I mean, it was
on a rickshaw. That's funny.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember Ivana Trumps once received it at the plaza, and of course we had you come in a hippie van. It's and a circus. It's just it's fun because it's. I wish everybody said. Well, you know what? Spain's starting to copy you because we know somebody that does a Nouveau type celebration in Spain now. I think everybody wants to be like Beaujolais in terms of learning the smart way to bring in a wine. So there's copycats.
Well, it's a great way to kick off the celebration of the season, and why not do it in a fun way?
Well, anyway, we want to thank you for being on. We can't wait to celebrate with you tonight, and we'll be talking about it next week. So we want to thank you. I know you're very busy this week, so thank you for taking the time with us.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much, Melanie. Thank you, David.
Well, Franck, it's such a pleasure to finally have you on our show, and we look forward to seeing you later this evening and celebrating the release of the 2014 Beaujolais Nouveau from Les Vins Georges Duboeuf tonight and tomorrow as well.
Great pleasure. Yes.
Thank you, and toujours Beaujolais.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci. À tout à l'heure.
So in the last minute we have, we want to just do a few shout outs. Tonight we are going to the fabulous SD26 White Truffle Dinner. Thank you, Tony and Marissa May. They will be on New Year's Eve with us. And then we're going to celebrate with Franck Duboeuf tonight at midnight. We also want to let you know that next week for our Thanksgiving issue, we're going to have Jim Tresice on from the New York Wine and Grape Foundation. And the folks from Warwick Distilleries, Jason Grazzani and Jeremy Kidd. We're going to talk New York State wine and spirits. So join us next Wednesday on the Connected Table Live. Please, if you love us, like us on Facebook, The Connected Table. Follow us on at Connected Table. And our website is www.theconnectedtable.com. So we hope you have a delicious week ahead. We certainly will tonight, eating truffles and drinking Beaujolais separately and continuing the celebration the rest of the week. So until then, have a delicious, delicious week from Melanie and David. Thank you very much.